In less than 48 hours, what Queen Camilla designed as a masterstroke of public dominance was turned into a devastating administrative humiliation.
For years, many believe Queen Camilla had finally secured her place at the center of the British monarchy. She had survived public criticism, royal scandals, and decades of controversy. But behind palace walls, a quieter battle was unfolding. As Prince William's influence grew, insiders began noticing subtle changes that seemed to reduce Camilla's power. Was it simply a changing monarchy, or was William carrying out a silent strategy years in the making? Stay until the end, because this story reveals a royal power struggle few people. Long before she became Queen Camilla, she was one of the most controversial figures connected to the British royal family. For decades, her name was linked to one of the biggest royal dramas in modern history. Public opinion was often harsh. Many people blamed her for the breakdown of the marriage between King Charles and Princess Diana. Newspapers followed her every move. Television programs debated her role in the royal story. It seemed impossible that she would ever be fully accepted by the public. Yet Camilla remained patient. While headlines came and went, she slowly built a different image. Instead of fighting public criticism, she focused on royal duties and charitable work. Year after year, she appeared at events, supported organizations, and stayed close to Charles through difficult times. As public attitudes gradually softened, something remarkable happened. The woman who had once been viewed as an outsider began moving closer to the center of the monarchy. When Charles finally became king, Camilla reached a position many people once believed she could never achieve. She was now Queen Camilla. From the outside, it looked like a complete victory. After years of criticism, she had earned a place beside the monarch. Her influence appeared stronger than ever. She attended major royal events, represented the crown, and stood beside Charles during some of the most important moments of his reign. But royal history has always been about more than titles. Inside the monarchy, power does not come only from a crown. It also comes from relationships, trust, and the people who will shape the future. And that future was becoming increasingly connected to one person, Prince William. Unlike previous generations, William was no longer just the heir waiting for his turn. As Charles grew older and the monarchy entered a new era, William's voice began carrying more weight inside palace discussions. Many royal watchers started noticing this shift. The public still saw Camilla as queen, but behind closed doors, another force was quietly rising. And there was something else many people wondered about. Could William ever completely separate his future from the painful events that had affected his mother, Princess Diana? That question had followed him for years. Some believed time had healed old wounds. Others suspected certain memories never truly disappear. What nobody knew was that the balance of power inside the royal family was about to change in ways few could have predicted. And for Camilla, the most difficult chapter of her royal journey may have been just beginning. What do you think was the biggest turning point in Camilla's royal journey? Share your opinion below. As Prince William grew up, the world watched him through a very unusual lens. He was not just a young royal. He was the son of Princess Diana, one of the most beloved figures in modern history. Everywhere he went, people remembered her. They remembered her kindness, her popularity, and the painful public breakdown of her marriage to Prince Charles. For William, those memories were not history lessons. They were personal. As a child, he experienced events that millions of people only saw through television screens. He witnessed intense media attention, public arguments, and constant headlines surrounding his family. The pressures were enormous, especially for someone so young. After Diana's tragic death in 1997, the world mourned. But for William and his brother Harry, the loss was deeply personal. They were no longer simply members of the royal family. They were two young boys trying to understand life without their mother. Years passed, and William slowly developed a reputation that was very different from the image many people expected. He rarely spoke publicly about family conflicts. He avoided dramatic interviews. Instead, he focused on duty, service, and preparing for the future role that awaited him. Yet those who followed the royal family closely often noticed something important. William seemed determined to protect the monarchy in a way that reflected the lessons he had learned from the past. He understood how personal choices could affect public trust. He understood how royal disagreements could dominate headlines. Most of all, he understood how difficult those years had been for his mother. But nobody outside palace walls knew exactly how those experiences influenced his private decisions. As William matured, his relationship with Camilla appeared respectful in public. Royal events showed them standing together. Official appearances suggested stability and cooperation. There was rarely any visible sign of conflict. However, public appearances do not always tell the full story. Behind closed doors, royal households often operate through influence rather than direct confrontation. Decisions about staff, priorities, public engagements, and long-term strategy can quietly shape the balance of power inside the institution. And William was becoming increasingly involved in those conversations. The world saw a future king preparing for the throne. Palace insiders saw something more. They saw a man determined to guide the monarchy into a new era, one built around a smaller and more focused royal family. At first, these ideas seemed harmless. But as William's influence expanded, some observers began wondering whether those changes could eventually affect the position of people around the king, including Camilla. What happened next would cause many royal watchers to look at the relationship between William and Camilla in a completely different way. And this was only the beginning. For most of his life, Prince William was seen as the future of the monarchy. But eventually, the future started becoming the present. As King Charles settled into his reign, William's responsibilities expanded rapidly. He was no longer simply attending royal events and representing the crown. He was becoming one of the most influential voices inside the institution itself. This change did not happen overnight. Royal power rarely moves in dramatic public moments. More often, it shifts quietly through meetings, decisions, and trusted relationships. Over time, William began taking a larger role in discussions about the monarchy's direction, its public image, and its long-term survival. Many experts noticed that William appeared focused on one major goal. He wanted a modern monarchy. The royal family had faced years of challenges. Public scrutiny was stronger than ever. Social media had changed how people viewed institutions. Every decision could become a global headline within minutes. William understood this reality. Unlike previous generations, he had grown up under constant media attention. He knew how quickly public opinion could change. Because of that, he seemed determined to create a royal family that was smaller, more efficient, and easier for the public to understand. However, this vision carried consequences. A smaller monarchy naturally meant fewer people holding major roles and fewer competing centers of influence. As William's plans became clearer, observers began paying close attention to who would gain influence and who might lose it. At the same time, William's popularity remained strong. Polls often showed him among the most trusted members of a royal family. His public image was built around stability, duty, and family values. Together with Catherine, Princess of Wales, he represented what many people saw as the future face of the monarchy. That growing support gave his opinions even greater weight. Inside royal circles, people understood an important fact. William was not simply the heir anymore. One day he would be king. Decisions made today could shape the institution he would eventually inherit. And that changed everything. As his authority expanded, reports increasingly suggested that William was becoming more involved in key strategic discussions. Staff members, advisors, and palace officials understood that maintaining a good relationship with the future king mattered enormously. This created a subtle but powerful shift. Without making public demands or creating visible conflict, William's influence continued growing year after year. The world